49er football. Let's go. This is Around the Felt. I'm your host, Reagan Losher. I'm here with my co-host, Colin Tong, and we're going to be talking about the 49ers. And if you're a 49ers fan, stay tuned. We're a lot higher than them on them this year. I think that's safe to say.
Yeah,
Can't get
absolutely,
any
man.
worse.
Can't be any worse. 6-11 season for the Niners last year. They were the most injured team in all of football. Really, really tough draw for them. Of course, not having CMC kind of screwed their season. But Vegas, very bullish on the Niners here. 10.5 win total for 2025. And they're projected to have the easiest schedule in football based on projected Vegas win totals. They have 10 games against teams that have a 7.5 or below win total, none against an 11+ projected win total. So a lot of gettable games.
Yeah, that'll happen when you go, when you're the worst in your division. You get the next season, you go against the worst in the other divisions, but a lot of those teams are just genuinely crap, didn't have injuries. So
yes,
that's
absolutely
a big thing that plays in their favor for this year.
I do feel very sorry for those last place teams in other divisions that drew the 49ers because this is a team that's been, atop the division for many years, particularly with this core. But, they did lose a lot of guys, man. Of course, Deebo Samuel traded to the Commanders. Tarvarius Ward, their number one corner, gone. Trey Greenlaw, although he missed a lot of last season with the Achilles, still considered one of the top linebackers in this league. Hufanga, their safety, who's also been hurt the previous 2 years. Leonard Floyd, Devondre Campbell, John Feliciano missed all of last season, was really good in 23. Aaron Banks, Jordan Mason. A lot of losses when you got to pay Brock Purdy over $250 million. Some additions. Mikel Williams, the 11th overall pick, defensive end out of Georgia. Mac Jones, new backup quarterback in town.
Oh, yeah.
Jason Pinnock at safety. Bryce Huff, maybe he looks like he did under Robert Saleh, who's back in San Francisco with the Jets. With all that being said, Reagan, 10.5 win total for these Niners. Do you think they go back to the top of the NFC West?
I do. I have them going 12-5 and being the 2 seed. I'm fully bought back in. Yeah. At the end of the day, I think this is a team that, is well coached. I believe in Sean McCay. Kyle Shanahan and
they're best buddies. It's all right.
Yeah, 49ers fans are like, all right, I'm tuning out now. But no, I fully believe in Kyle Shanahan. I think he's a great coach. I think, just having back a healthy McCaffrey that you can give the ball to 300 times between rushing and receiving is just going to be huge for this offense. I mean, George Kittle had a great season last year. You could argue he was the best tight end in football. And in the receiving room, I don't think losing Deebo is that bad. I mean, Juwan Jennings proved he's a legit receiver. Aiyuk will be back. I don't know if he'll be fully back early, but I think by the end of the season, he'll be back in full form. Pearsall showed some flashes last year, but he needs to really step up and prove why they were okay with trading Deebo and become that number 3, if not maybe the number 1, number 2. It'd be nice. And then they go out and get DeMarcus Robinson as well. Russell Gage, who, had some good seasons, with the Falcons. So they have some other guys there. I know they did just put Garendo on the pup as well as Jennings and Aiyuk, but I like Garendo a lot too if McCaffrey is to miss any time. And then on the defensive side of the ball, you highlighted all those losses, but it seems like they always seem to figure it out. And you still got some key guys, you still got your key guys in Warner and Nick Bosa. I think Mikel Williams can be a beast. But guys like Bryce Huff and Gross Matos that they signed for, cheap, guys that have shown success, but, ultimately come over. I think they can turn around them. So I just, even Eli Apple, I wouldn't be shocked if he turns out to be something over there. It's just teams like this where it's they get these scraps of guys that just seem like they're at the end of their careers and they rejuvenate them.
Okay. Yeah. You're more
and Thomas Morstead. Huge ad. Don't know why my Jets cut him. Really don't understand that because you could argue he was the best punter in football last year.
Well, I mean, was he getting paid a shit ton of money? That's the only reason you cut the best punter.
Well, for a punter, it's we're saving ourselves $500,000 by cutting this guy. It's but anyway.
Yeah, I'm not as bullish as you are, but I definitely have the Niners in the playoff picture. I have 10-7, 1 game behind the Rams in this division here. So I do have slightly under that win total. I'm more of a believer in Brock Purdy after that 6-11 season than I probably was prior, because he was actually really good considering all the injuries around him. He was one of the most efficient quarterbacks in the league. He led the league with a 57.9% completion rate at 10-plus yards downfield. Obviously, Aiyuk tore his ACL. Deebo was a shell of himself. And Pearsall didn't really start doing anything until the second half of the season. So I was like, you know what? And he didn't have McCaffrey. I was like, he played pretty damn good. So I understand why Kyle Shanahan wanted him to be his quarterback of the future and to give him the money. You know, I mean, he had 20 touchdowns, 12 picks, 3,800 yards. Doesn't look super sexy on paper, but the underlying metrics are better.
I think he'll bounce back.
Yeah. And of course, Christian McCaffrey, like, if he's healthy, he's the best running back in football. Like, bar none, like 2023 was just an unbelievable season out of him. So having him back, he's the engine of this offense. And they really, really missed him, of course, in the run game, but more so in the passing game. Because, you know, Garendo and Mason, although they had some good games, they weren't really dominating as a receiver. And the Niners want to go under center, play action, hit McCaffrey and Kittle. Those are two best players on offense outside of course, Trent Williams, their Hall of Fame left tackle, who missed a lot of time last year too. You know, so you have all these guys coming back, and I'm like, you know what? Yeah, a ton of losses, particularly on the defensive side of the ball. But, like, this offense still has some dudes. I mean, Aiyuk was not great last year before the ACL tear. The start of the season is going to be like the 10-month mark. So I bet he'll probably start the season on PUP, miss the first 4 games, and come back in October. I actually like Aiyuk. If you can get a steep discount on him, I like him in best ball because, like, I'm not gonna lie, Pearsall heated up at the end of the year, not being involved really at all. He had 8 for 141, a touchdown in week 17, 6 for 69, a touchdown in week 18. But I think Aiyuk is still better than Pearsall. Like, Aiyuk will be the number 1 receiver. Kittle's the number 1 target. Aiyuk will be the number 1 receiver when he comes back. So I'm buying the discount on Aiyuk. Defensively, though, I'm slightly concerned. It was just not great last year. They lost a ton of talent. They were the second worst red zone defense. They were 22nd in pressure rate, 23rd in sacks.
Bob Saleh will figure it out.
Bosa is the only player returning who had more than 4 sacks. He had 9 in 14 games, but Bosa is a dog. You know, 4th in pressure rate. He's a dog. Let's see if Bryce Huff can, you know, bring something back here. Mikel Williams gets a lot of shit for his lack of production at Georgia, but he also moved around the line a ton. He was on the interior nearly half his snaps, so it's hard to get sacks when you're on the interior. But his pressure rate on the edge was phenomenal. So, I mean, he's a freak athlete. I think the production will come. There's a reason he got picked 11th overall, and they need a guy opposite of Bosa to step up. So Mikel Williams could be massive for this defense, and they're going to need it. Secondary's like, it's pretty good. It's not great. It's kind of middle of the pack, in my opinion. Like, I like Lenior a lot. You know, Ronaldo Green's solid, but losing your number 1 corner is never ideal. So, you know, and I mentioned they got the easiest schedule in football this year. So it's hard for me to think that a Kyle Shanahan-led team with the amount of star power they have is not going to be back in the playoff picture. I just like the Rams a little bit more. You know, I just like the Rams a little bit more this season. So, but I would not be shocked at all if the Niners do win this division.
Yeah, I would be shocked if the Rams win it. The Niners are going to be fully back. I mean, this is going to be a team that's pushing for the Super Bowl. Good teams figure it out. Good coaches figure it out. I'm fully bought back in. I mean, Vegas knows 10.5 win total. Let's be real here. This is going to be 12 wins minimum. You talked about how easy the schedule is going to be. They're going to bounce back. McCaffrey's going to be healthy. I think you're getting him a value in fantasy for sure. I mean, he's going drafted like 6 or 7, where I think he may end up being the number 1 guy in all of fantasy football. So I'm fully in on this team. I'm fully in. So
yeah, I only got 1 McCaffrey share right now in a best ball draft, and I got him 9th, and I was absolutely pumped. I'm like, dude, you're gonna give me McCaffrey at 9. Value. If he's healthy, it's like, dude, come on, he's gonna be an absolute stud.
Yeah, you can be the number 1 guy for sure.
All right, so we both have him in the playoffs here. You got him winning the division. I got a wild card spot for him. Who's your MVP for these Niners?
Christian McCaffrey.
I mean, it's McCaffrey. You know. It's I mean, look what happened last year. They didn't have him. Granted, other injuries too, but dude, he's arguably the best offensive player in football when healthy.
Yeah, dude, he's gonna fully bounce back. I am not worried in the slightest. Give me like I just highlighted, give me all the stock possible in fantasy. And I think he's going to be, the driving force once again for them to have a huge successful season.
Who is your X factor?
Yeah, my X factor is Ricky Pearsall because we already know Aiyuk and Jennings are on the pup to start the year. We don't know if Aiyuk might miss some time, so he needs to continue in his development and show, hey, this is why we took this guy in the first round. I mean, he's an elite talent, and kind of show what he was building at the end of the season. So if he can take that step forward, I think that's a whole nother dynamic for this offense they can unlock.
Yeah, I mean, I already mentioned Mikel Williams kind of as an X factor. I want to shout out Mikel Williams here because I was between him. I went with Trent Williams, at 38 years old, maybe 39. Don't quote me on that. I mean, when he's out, this offensive line also doesn't look very sexy on paper. I know a ton of mock drafts had them taking a tackle at 11 to play the right side. I don't think this offensive line is like outside of Trent Williams. I think this would be a bad offensive line, to be honest with you. So he needs to stay healthy at his age because they need him to protect Purdy's blind side, but also when McCaffrey runs to that left side of the offensive line, the metrics are unbelievable when you put him behind Trent Williams. So,
well, they use him in such dynamic ways. There's not many tackles that pull in the league like him.
Yes, absolutely. And it's the style of offense they want to play is under center play action. Like having an absolute Hall of Fame caliber player is so clutch. It's just hard to predict health for guys that are in their upper 30s,
And
you need Trent to be healthy.
And he is a first ballot Hall of Famer.
Absolutely. No doubt. There's no doubt. You can't argue it. He's so damn good. Who's your rookie of the year for these Niners?
Yeah, I mean, I want to go with Mikel Williams. I mean, I don't know. I mean, am I really good? They didn't really draft many other guys that
it's
seem
like
you know what? Play right away.
Alfred Collins, second round D tackle from Texas, really good against the run, but for everything I'm seeing from training camp is the first depth chart he's buried. Like apparently he's not doing very well, and he's more of a run stuffer, like nose tackle. So it's hard to go with that over the guy Mikel Williams who's starting at edge.
Yeah, I'm just gonna go Mikel Williams. He's the only guy that really looks like it. I mean, maybe Jordan Watkins can have an impact if Aiyuk misses some time. Maybe he carves out a role and could be the number 3, maybe. But, I think Robinson will be the 4 when everything's healthy. So it's just another guy where it's going to be hard to really get time. So I think Mikel Williams is the easy choice there.
Yeah, I mean, I think Nick Martin and Upton Stout. Nick Martin's linebacker that took the 3rd round. He's coming off a season-ending knee injury, so that's not ideal. But with no Greenlaw, like they need help at linebacker. And with Stout, like, you lose your number 1 corner in Travarius Ward. So, he's more of a slot corner, though, but maybe Lenior shifts on the outside. I think those guys could have roles early on for sure. Like they need help on defense. They need bodies. Like someone's got to win the job. So they have a chance, but it's just like, God damn it. Mikel Williams is 100% starting opposite of Nick Bosa. And like all the attention will be on Bosa. So Mikel Williams can have a lot of opportunities to win and get to the pass rusher and, be a guy that, he only had 4.5 sacks at Georgia, but like, all right, Trayvon Walker didn't have a ton of production in Georgia either. Now we're starting to see him be a double-digit sack guy. I think he's a similar mold to that.
Yeah. No, I mean it's weird because there are a lot of holes on this team, so there are some paths. It's just hard for me to go any other route than Williams.
I know Williams is the guy here, and like that's the thing, man. That's why I'm like 10-7 does feel low. It does feel low when you consider the star power on that offense. It's hard to predict how this defense is going to look with losing that much talent. You know what I mean? It's like they really lost a lot of guys. I mean, on offense too, like they got to start hitting on their draft picks, man. Like name a guy since the Trey Lance draft that they've really hit on that's been a superstar. You know what I mean? Like none. Like it's been like 4 years where they haven't really hit on guys that have been like studs. Like, they've had some guys that are pretty good, but like when you take Ricky Pearsall in the 1st round, like, yeah, that was a ballsy pick. And he showed flashes in week 17, week 18, but
I guess Brock Purdy, but like they didn't draft him as like a top tier guy.
I know. He's been their biggest.
Ronaldo,
no doubt.
Ronaldo Green wasn't terrible last year, but
yeah, it's like, dude, they really, because when they traded for Trey Lance, they traded multiple 1st round picks, right? So they haven't had a lot of premium draft capital. Finally pulled the trigger on our guy Ricky Pearsall. Go Gators. I'm saying go Gators. I'm a Gators fan, but I don't know, man. Ricky's really good against man coverage. He can beat man, which is nice because he should get a lot of man when they're gonna run the ball a ton with McCaffrey. But I don't know, man. I'm a little concerned about Pearsall's long-term production for this team.
Yeah, and we'll see. I mean, bringing back Saleh, obviously they had elite defenses when he was a coordinator there. I mean, didn't work out well with the Jets, but I don't think he's head coaching material. So we shall see. I mean, they had some very relevant defenses there, and he had some very relevant defenses when he was with Seattle. So I think that he can, turn around this defense, or I hope, at least better than they were last year, which shouldn't be too hard to beat.
I do agree with you 100%. Bringing back Robert Saleh, I think, was a phenomenal hire out of Kyle Shanahan. Like, absolutely.
So it's just funny because you see this a lot with some of these elite coaches that have big coaching trees. Like these guys go and get head coaching jobs. And it was a very common trend with Bill Belichick. These guys would go, they'd get head coaching jobs, wouldn't work out, and then they would come back. I mean, we saw it with, Matt Patricia. We saw it with
Josh McDaniels,
Bill O'Brien. So, 3 examples right there. But, so it speaks to, Kyle Shanahan and what he can do for these guys, but also it speaks to some of these guys just not being head coach material. But I do think, Saleh is a great defensive mind because even though the Jets never were able to put it good together, the defense was always very good under Saleh.
100%. Well, Niners fans, let us know in the comments.
Well, what about our fantasy guys? Come on.
Oh, I'm sorry. I forgot the fantasy football. Who do you like? Fantasy football.
Obviously, I like McCaffrey at his value. I mean, Garendo's a must pick up, must stash type of guy. I mean, there's no reason he should be on any waiver wire leagues because we've seen over the past couple of years, anytime McCaffrey misses time, they go to one back and they feed the shit out of him. And while it's not McCaffrey level good, it's still, top 5 fantasy guy on that week. And, Kittle, I like a lot. I think he's going as a tight end 4 or 5 right now. And I think he could easily finish as 1. Like you said earlier, Aiyuk's definitely a guy you could draft late, but I would be taking Sticky Ricky as well because I think, he could end up being the number 1 in this offense. And Purdy, I'm probably not taking. He could be my QB too, but it doesn't move the needle enough for me that like even at his peak, like I feel like he's still ending as like, while he could be a QB1, he's probably like 9 at best, 10, where it's like there's just the rushing ability is not there, and I don't see him having enough touchdowns because ultimately I think when they get to the red zone, they want to force the rock to McCaffrey and get him close to 20 rushing touchdowns this year.
Yeah, I mean, I like those calls, man. Of course, I'm all over McCaffrey if I can get him late first round. I think it's slam dunk. Like, I'm not taking anyone over him at that price point. Like maybe a Gibbs if he's there, but I doubt it, right? Like McCaffrey's the guy I want late round 1. I love Brandon Aiyuk at the discount, man. Like, especially in best ball, if I'm getting him as my wide receiver 4 that late, like I'm fine waiting a couple weeks, like before the buys really kick in, because I think Aiyuk will be back in October, and let's not forget how good he was in 2023, right? So there's a reason they paid him $30 million a year. So he got that massive deal and then was a little slow at the gate last year towards ACL. I'm still buying that talent. I think he'll have a bounce back. And, George Kittle too, man, had over 1,100 yards and 8 touchdowns in only 15 games last year. Like, if Kittle's there, you can't go wrong. The dude's healthy. He's an Iron Man. He played through a hamstring last year, and he's most likely going to go for over 1,000 yards, especially when we consider that there's no Deebo Samuel in the picture for this team. So I think that's a good call out of you, George Kittle. Ricky Sticky, maybe. I don't know.
I am high on him, bro. I really believe in him. I mean,
I don't know why I'm not. I'm a Gators fan too. I don't know why.
Yeah, no, me too. I'm a huge Gators fan. That's why I'm high on him. I back my boys at Chop. Chop.
He did have one of the greatest catches in college football history too, the one-hander. So, he is a good athlete.
Draft him in your fantasy leagues. It correlates.
Yeah, it correlates. Absolutely. Well, Niners fans, now that wraps up the episode. Let us know in the comments. Am I a little too low on your Niners with 10 wins and making the playoffs? Reagan's got on 12-5. Like, can we get some payback on
Number
Philadelphia?
2 seed, baby.
Can they make a run back to the Super Bowl? Do they have it in them with this aging core? It almost feels like this is the year if they're going to get it done.
Does. And they are number 2 seed. Let's get it done. Niners.